8 months ago, I thought I was just walking into another patch of Alabama woods. You know the type? Briars, vines, mosquito plotting your downfall. But it wasn't just woods. It was a cemetery that had been forgotten for over 150 years. And here's the crazy part. The city reached out to us. They trusted exploring history with access and even with helping research it. That's not just an invite. That's responsibility. And for now, we got to keep the location secret because some folks can't even respect the gas station bathroom, much less a 150-year-old cemetery. So let me take you back to what it looked like then, what it looks like now, and why this place matters, not just to history, but to us. When I first came out here, it didn't yell cemetery, it whispered it. At first glance, just rocks. But closer up, I started noticing the edges, the shapes, faint letters, the band family, A.E. Self. And it hit me. I was standing in the middle of a cemetery that nobody had cared for, visited, or maybe even thought about for generations. But here's the thing, just finding those stones wasn't enough. That was only the beginning. Standing out there, I realized real quick, we had our work cut out for us. Because every stone you uncover isn't just a marker, it's a clue. And clues mean research, names, dates, stories that needed to be pieced back together. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just exploring, this was investigating. Now I gotta stop here. This isn't just me wandering around and saying, "Hey, I found something cool." The city called us. They gave us special access. They trusted us to help research it. That's huge because it says this place matters. And to be honest, it shows exploring history isn't just about telling stories. It's about protecting them. And this is why we keep it quiet. Because history deserves more than just to be vandalized and stolen. And listen, that's what we're here for. If you got a family story, a museum collection, or you're part of a historical organization that wants your history remembered, let us know in the comments or reach out through our website because the next story we tell, it might just be yours. 8 months later, look at this. Back then, this was nothing but brush and vines. Now, the hill opens up, the fence coming into view, and the cemetery finally stands in the light again. The grave's finally back in the open. And here's the thing, this isn't just land being cleared. This is people being remembered. After 150 years in the dark, they're finally back in the light. So here's what I keep asking myself. If this is what one forgotten cemetery looks like when it's brought back, how many others are still out there waiting? What do you think? Should we be out searching for more lost cemeteries like this or focusing on the ones we already uncovered? So let's put this into context. Alabama became a state in 1819, and by the time these stones were being carved in the 1850s, the state was still young, barely a generation into statehood. Cotton was king. Enslaved people were being forced into endless labor, and families were building small communities on land that had only recently been taken from native people. Life looked very different depending on who you were. For enslaved people, it was brutal labor, day after day. For small farmers, it meant scraping by hoping crops would last. And for the wealthy few at the top, it meant land, money, and power. Now think about this. The band children buried here died years before Birmingham even became a city in 1871, before the furnaces, before the railroads, before this state's biggest boom. So these stones, they're from a time when Alabama was still raw, still forming. Families like the bands were out here carving farms, raising children, burying them too young, and leaving these markers as their way of saying, "We mattered, don't forget us." And that's the moment you realize this isn't just history on paper. These were real people living in a world that was still being built around them. So what is the evidence telling us? What do we actually know for sure? We got multiple Van family members buried here. Casper D. Van, born and died in 1853. Elihu F. Van, 1854 to 1855. More children, more dates cut short. Then there's the Self headstone. The letters are faint, but they are there. And if you look close, you can almost see more carving below. Maybe a date, maybe more detail. Someone 150 years ago wanted to make sure their loved one wasn't forgotten. And here we are, still reading it. We even got stones with just initials, RMV, scratched into rock. That's all the world remembers of them now. 3 letters, think about that. And when you look at the stones side by side, you see a clear difference. Some of them, like Jasper or Elihu, you can tell somebody paid a stone carver. They got shape, clean lettering, a little design. But then there are others, rough, simple markers, just initials or a name scratched in by hand. That's probably all the family could afford, or all they could manage at the time. And that contrast tells us something important. Even in a little community cemetery like this, people had different resources, different means, but every stone, whether it's carved or just a rock with initials, says the same thing. This person mattered. Don't forget him. From the ground, it feels random, but from the air, you see the layout. Rows, clusters, depressions in the ground, sunken spots. Every one of these is a grave, which means this isn't just a family plot. This is a community cemetery. Dozens of people, maybe 40, maybe more. So based on what we can see, the Band family seem to be located in the back of this cemetery. And at this point, we don't know who else is buried here. The self-stone tells us at least one other family was here, maybe a neighbor or someone connected. And the depressions in the ground suggest this was bigger than just a family plot. And you know what? Standing out there, it didn't feel like some textbook history lesson. It felt like someone's story was still waiting to be told. It's us figuring it out together. And here's the kicker. We're already seeing threads that might connect these families. But that's the story for what comes next. And 8 months ago, this was nothing but woods. And now it's a cemetery again. Visible, real, and remembered. But we only scratched the surface. Already, the stories we've uncovered hint at heartbreak and resilience. A father killed in a farm accident, leaving his widow to keep the family alive. A mother who tricked soldiers during the Civil War to protect her children. And here, carved in stone, are the names of children buried long before Birmingham was even a city. Every marker out here is a breadcrumb, a clue to lives once lived. Some names stand clear, others have faded to just 3 initials scratched in rock. But together, they sketch the outline of a whole community. And this is where you come in. If the names Van or Self touch your family story, or if you got a theory about why this cemetery was lost, share it. Your piece of the puzzle might be the one that helps bring this history back together. This place waited a century and a half to be remembered. And now that it's in the light, we're not stopping until we uncover the full story, because the names we found here are just the beginning. In the next chapter, we'll uncover how these families connect and what their lives reveal about the community that once thrived here. I'm William, and I'll see you next time when we explore history.